play a game.
It's Halloween. It must be Saw. Jigsaw is back in theaters, and we're going to tell you if it was a hit or a miss. Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional, and this is Dave from Nerdbox, and I'm accompanied by my wife Jen, also from Nerdbox. And on this episode, we are talking about Saw X, Saw 10, Saw whatever. It's the next chapter. So fire up that Jiffy Pop and meet us in the booth.
This is Brian O'Holler, and you're watching the Popcorn Confessional on the Nerdbox. Sounds like a porn site.
After learning that he only has months left to live, John Kramer learns of a miraculous cure and travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure. Only he soon discovers that the entire operation is a scam set up to rob the most vulnerable in their dying days. Having found new inspiration to continue his work, John turns the tables on those behind the scheme as the games begin again.
Before we begin this review, we have a ceremony. I have to be the only person that walked into their movie theater, saw that, and clapped, where she clapped at a kill scene.
It was deserved.
There's something wrong with you.
Really? Me?
Anyway, for those that are diehard Saw fans, if you're going in expecting what you've gotten in the previous films, well, got some news for you. It's not really like that. In fact, I would say kind of reminded me of Insidious 5. So, and the reason why I say that is because the first half an hour explores John's health and his mental state and what he'll do to go and get better. And then as we dive into our traps and so forth, we get to see the relationship of Amanda and John Kramer explored a little bit more than we've ever seen before.
I don't think it was a half an hour before the first kill, because there was that one, the first kill was
Can't talk about it because that would be a spoiler.
Okay, it's not.
You better hurry up. Be sure to like and subscribe. Make your choice.
I didn't hate the fact that there was more story. I like that we got to kind of see like that father-daughter relationship between Amanda and John Kramer. Mm-hmm. I also really was very giddy about the fact that there was so much Amanda and John Kramer, because, you know, in the other films, yes, we got to see a little bit of John and we always heard his voice. But in this movie, like, he was there. He was up front and in the center, you know, in the spotlight and, you know, telling these people, like, how it is. And so I really enjoyed that part of it.
We talked about this in the Pop 5 on The Disciples, where, you know, you saw that, you know, fatherly daughter relationship, and we kind of talked about, it's like, you know, Amanda is the person that gets shit done, right? If John needs something done, she tells Amanda, Amanda goes out and gets it done. Mm-hmm. But we get to see that play out in this movie. So it's really good to see a different side of things, because you get to see the hunt taking place throughout the beginning of the movie too. So that's pretty cool. So we got a lot of new aspects that were brought in with this film. And I don't want to hear from people that are like, oh, I didn't like Indiana Jones because it's not the 1980s anymore and he's not running around and jumping and doing all these flips and all this other stuff. People get older, right?
Yes.
So you can't go into a movie and say, well, the person's older, so he has to act like he did 40 years ago. No, there's a reason why a story is told a certain way. Mm-hmm. And with John, in this, he's weaker.
Yes.
So we're seeing the weaker John Kramer, because this movie takes place between Saw and Saw 2. Mm-hmm. And in Saw 2, if you remember, he wasn't mobile. He had the oxygen mask on and everything else.
He was in a wheelchair. I think that the fact that you see his age in this one is not a bad thing, because it just makes him look weaker and sicker. And, you know, he's getting to that point now of like no return, where he's not going, definitely, I mean, we knew he wasn't going to get better, but he's not even going to like have little spells and then recover. He's just going to get worse. And so I think that his age in real life just played into that.
Yeah, and the way the story is told and plays out, you almost kind of feel bad for John Kramer and what he's going through. And then when he gets scammed, then it's like, oh man, how can you not, and you know, how can you do this to John Kramer, which is in the trailer, but how can you do that to anybody that's in that situation? So right away he's like, all right, well, let's go get these bastards.
Yeah, so I mean, out of all of the movies, I have to say this one, I really just didn't care if anybody made it through their traps at all. I was like, you can all just die, because what they're doing is just disgusting. And I know that this happens in real life. People get scammed. They get scammed out of their money. You know, they get scammed by thinking they're gonna get better, and they're not going to. And it is horrible. And I mean, there were actually times where like I'm ready to like shed a tear for John Kramer. Like, I felt genuinely so bad for him.
Yeah, and where you would think that John Kramer would be motivated by revenge, he still has that compassion. It's like, well, we still gotta give them a chance. No matter all the wrong that they've done and how many people they cheated, his point is still to give everybody a chance.
Yeah, he still gives them that chance for redemption. You know, if they really, really want it, you know, his belief, of course, has always been if they really want it, then they will do it. And the biggest thing is listen. Listen.
So the storytelling was a nice addition to the Saw franchise. It freshens it up. You know, it's a breath of fresh air because we're not getting the same old recycled thing. Somebody screwed up, we get a series of traps, and then we get our reveal at the end or whatever. So we get the story, we get our traps, we get story in between the traps, which is nice. And then let's talk about the traps. This takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2. So don't expect the traps to be on the level of what we got later on in the films, because we see John in this film designing some of the traps that we see later on in the other films. And he's in Mexico. It's not like he has all his tools at his disposal, so he is using what he has to make traps.
Yeah.
And this could possibly be the goriest film of the franchise.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of cringy moments where you're like, don't know if I want to watch this, even though you know you have to. So
I don't think anybody will think of rope the same way ever again after this.
Or your own body.
That face says it all about the rope.
Yeah.
So what do you rate this one?
I want to go see it again.
Yes, I want to go see it again. I want to see it again tomorrow, but we have an interview to do tomorrow, so can't go see it tomorrow. So
We can see it after.
No, we have other recordings to do after.
So maybe over the weekend sometime.
Yes. We just recently watched the entire franchise again.
We did.
And the franchise actually got better as it's aged, so that's a nice thing to see. And this fits in there perfectly. It's a lot better than Spiral. It's a lot better than Jigsaw, if you were all disappointed with Jigsaw. And it's a lot better than 3D. So this is, it's definitely up there.
Yeah, it had actually been a while since we've watched the Saw movies. They're not ones that we really go back to, if at all. I don't know why. Probably because some of them were just not our favorites. But having rewatched them all recently really got me like hyped up for them again. And I enjoyed watching them after having not seen them for so many years.
Yeah,
So-
I can't say that about the Halloween franchise, because there's some movies in that franchise like, no, didn't age good.
Yeah, we just don't touch
watch it.
them. Yeah, I think we essentially kind of stick to just Halloween and Halloween 2.
Yeah, and then occasionally 4 and 5.
Yeah, occasionally, but not. It's not like a must-watch every season. I won't ever go back to those other ones, I don't think. But I don't know. With Saw, I might go back once in a while now. I forgot how much I actually enjoyed watching John Kramer do his thing.
You didn't really in the beginning. It's aged well with you, I guess.
It has, yeah.
Anyway, let us know if you're going to see this weekend. Let us know what you think of the film. If you want to talk about the film, find us on the Nerdbox Facebook page. We'll talk about it in Messenger. Some people do that, so you can talk about it. And don't forget, you need to do a couple of things.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Yes, it is almost the 31 days of Halloween, so we got some interviews coming up. We have weekly previews of everything that is coming out for horror films that week. We'll do some reviews of those films, and then we may have some other goodies along the way. Anyway, till the next.
See
See
ya.
ya.